Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to NoDQ&A video right here on NoDQ.com, as well as the YouTube channel and NoDQ&A videos affiliate, ringsidenews.com. We are now just 1 week away until WrestleMania 32 in Dallas, Texas, which is set to break all-time records in WWE, live gate, attendance, and so forth. WrestleMania spirit is within all of us now as we get closer to the Super Bowl of wrestling. Got your questions here from twitter.com/AaronRift. Let's get started today. First question comes from Leo Bossman. No relation to the Big Boss Man, I'm assuming. Hey Aaron, what do you think about the Wyatts attacking Brock Lesnar during his match with Dean Ambrose at WrestleMania? I see that as a very realistic possibility. I would be shocked if Dean Ambrose beats Brock Lesnar clean at WrestleMania. I think outside interference in this match will depend on the other two main event matches. If WWE is planning to have run-ins during the Hell in the Cell match as well as the WWE title match, they may not want to have three matches, the three main event matches for that matter, have outside interference. But if that is WWE's plan to have Dean Ambrose beat Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania, that seems to make the most sense, where you have the Wyatt family interfere and cost Lesnar the match, and that sets up Lesnar versus Bray Wyatt. And we really even haven't seen the end of that feud between them, and the Wyatt family confronted Brock Lesnar on SmackDown this week. That leads me to believe that they will probably get involved in this match. So I see that as a possible finish for WrestleMania. But I'll talk more about that match during the predictions video with myself and Jeff Meacham, which is coming up on the No DQ channel later this week. So stay tuned for that. Alright, this one comes from Kyle Porter. First time asker. Do you think AJ Styles should get a title run later this year or at WrestleMania 33? Hashtag save the beard. I would like to see AJ Styles get a main event push in WWE, but my fear is they're already dropping the ball with him and they really do not see him as a main eventer. It could be a whole repeat of Daniel Bryan, where the fans want to see AJ get the main event push, but WWE is going to hold him back. That seems to be the likely direction, that he gets close to the main event but doesn't quite get there, and the fans start getting upset. They complain online, all that stuff, and time will tell if WWE gives in to that. But I would be shocked if WWE right now has any long-term plans to have AJ Styles in a WWE title match. Just knowing how WWE operates, I would be surprised if he gets a title match anytime soon, and if he does, probably just losing in a similar fashion to when Dean Ambrose lost to Roman Reigns. I could see the same thing happening. Alright, this one comes from Aditya. Hey Aaron, when Seth Rollins returns and if WWE does Reigns versus Rollins, will we see a double turn between them in that match? I think it's better to bring back Seth Rollins as a babyface rather than bring him back as a heel and do a double turn. When Rollins comes back, he's going to have a lot of momentum as a babyface. He's going to get that big pop from the fans that have missed him. A lot of fans universally love Roman Reigns, or should I say Seth Rollins. Wishful thinking about Roman Reigns. Botch. I think that it's better to have Roman Reigns turn heel and bring back Seth Rollins in a face and just go with that, rather than having Roman Reigns stay as a babyface and then have Seth Rollins come back as a heel and then do a double turn. Just seems to me like you might as well capitalize on the fact that Seth Rollins is going to get a huge reaction when he comes back. Alright, this one comes from Bill Mack. Hey Aaron, could you see Roman Reigns turning heel at WrestleMania if he were to lose and turn on The Rock after the match? If The Rock was going to be the special guest referee at WrestleMania, this would be a reasonable way to do the heel turn angle, to have Roman lose the match and blame it on The Rock and lay out The Rock to close WrestleMania. That would be an effective way to do it, but it's looking right now like The Rock is not going to be the referee in that match, and who knows if The Rock will even be involved in any kind of angle in that match. I don't know if he's going to come out and do a run-in, or he's going to be part of the New Day's match. Right now, it's still up in the air what's going on with The Rock for WrestleMania. He really hasn't said anything in several weeks now. He's been quiet about it. I would think that if he was going to be the referee, that it would have been announced already. So who knows? Alright, this one comes from Samish. Hey Aaron, which is the most vicious and brutal moment in WWE according to you? I would say Mick Foley going off the Hell in the Cell and being chokeslammed through the Hell in the Cell and having a tooth go through his mouth. That was quite disturbing. I think most fans would agree that that was probably the most grotesque moment in WWE history. Mick Foley seeing his face covered in blood with the tooth sticking out and the smile on his face. I mean, that match was really one of the most violent matches in WWE history. Honorable mentions, I would say Shane McMahon and Kurt Angle, King of the Ring 2001. Shane McMahon going through the plexiglass. That was pretty brutal. And Hardcore Holly getting slammed through a table. I believe this was on an edition of ECW on Sci-Fi sometime during 2006, and his back just being split open. I mean, that was very disturbing. So those are the ones that stick out the most to me. Alright, this one comes from Dylan Falk. Hey Aaron, do you see Scott Steiner going into the WWE Hall of Fame down the line twice, one for himself and tag team with Rick? I would be surprised to see Scott Steiner going into the Hall of Fame just once, to be honest, because he doesn't seem like one of those guys that WWE is really high on inducting into the Hall of Fame. I think a lot of it is perhaps due to Steiner's personality and a fear that he'll go out there and start rambling and start being Scott Steiner, and WWE doesn't want that. I think a lot of people aren't sure what to make of the guy these days, and I think it's been that way for a while. But I do feel the Steiner brothers are definitely worthy of going into the Hall of Fame, but I say this time and time again, there is no real criteria for the Hall of Fame. What gives you the best shot of going in is being on good terms with the company more than your past accomplishments. Of course, it shouldn't be that way, but it is what it is. So if Scott Steiner and WWE eventually get on good terms, then I could see the Steiners going in. I would be surprised if Scott Steiner is ever inducted on his own. I mean, he had a very successful career, but I think most people remember the name Steiner with the Steiner brothers and them being one of the great tag teams of the 1990s. Alright, this one comes from Junior. First time asker. From 2008 to now, what do you think has been the best years in WWE? For me, it's Money in the Bank 2011 through WrestleMania 30. And not going to say the hashtag because people don't like when I do that. And I've been good this episode. I would agree with you on that. I would definitely say 2011. I mean, that year was really one of the best years in WWE. You had The Rock coming back, and of course, you had CM Punk doing the pipe bomb and the whole Money in the Bank pay-per-view and SummerSlam. That was a hot year in WWE. Even the Royal Rumble was really entertaining with Kevin Nash coming back. WrestleMania wasn't so great, but the rest of the year I thought was very entertaining, and business was good. Business was good for NoDQ.com. The site literally crashed twice. First for when CM Punk did the pipe bomb, and then again at the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. And the site has only crashed a couple of times in its history over the decade plus, almost 2 decades now we're going on. So yeah, it was really good for my business, and it was a fun time. I mean, it felt like maybe WWE was turning a corner and was going to start producing more edgier television. And then, of course, I would say late 2013 through the first half of 2014, the whole Daniel Bryan Yes movement and him winning at WrestleMania and all the stuff going on around that period. With the Shield having all their great tag matches. So you had a lot of good wrestling, and you had some intriguing storylines with the Authority when it was fresh before they just kept going overboard with it and not wrapping it up. When they first turned Randy Orton heel, I thought that was a really strong angle at SummerSlam in 2013. So yeah, those periods I thought were the best. 2011 and then the second half of 2013 into the first half of 2014. Alright, this one comes from Callie. Do you think WWE and Hulk Hogan are likely to ink a deal in time for Hogan to appear at WrestleMania? Anything's possible, but I'm thinking the odds are against it at this point. WWE already has set their records for WrestleMania. They're going to break their all-time attendance record. They're going to have the record gate, as I mentioned earlier at the start of the video. I really do not feel they're desperate at this point to bring in Hulk Hogan. I think that they will do what they already have planned for WrestleMania and things will be fine. There's really no need to bring back Hulk Hogan right now. And yes, he's fresh in the headlines and Hogan is doing well. He won the lawsuit, but at the same time, I do think we will see Hulk Hogan again one day in WWE, but I feel there's no rush from WWE's end to bring him back for this show. Alright, this one comes from Jared J. Smith. Hey Aaron, when Austin surrendered the IC title to The Rock, was that the sign that the title was slowly being devalued? I would agree with that. I feel that around the time the Attitude Era got going, that WWE started not emphasizing the title belts, and Vince Russo himself said that the titles were props. So they weren't really held to the prestige that they were once at. You had the IC title going from the stepping stone to the world title and being the workhorse title to being a title that was literally thrown into a river by Steve Austin. It was a memorable angle, no question, but yeah, I do feel it hurt the title, and the title lost a lot of credibility. It went from being that title that was the sign that you were on your way to the top in WWE to just being a title that the mid-carders would trade back and forth, and that's what it felt like in 1999 through 2000 and that period. And after the brand extension got going, it started to gain some prestige back. You know, they did get rid of it entirely for a while, but once they brought it back, it started to gain back some of its prestige. But it never really got to the level that it was at in the early days, in the 80s and the early 90s. Alright, this one comes from Sean. With weekly Raws, would it be good for health and keep acts fresh to have a week on/off schedule except for major storylines? If WWE is not going to bring back the brand extension, then yes, I do feel that that's a good idea, because you have Raw, you have SmackDown, and guys definitely get overexposed being on both shows every single week, and even weekly. It would be nice to do what they have been doing during WrestleMania season with the top stars, the part-timers like Brock Lesnar and The Undertaker. Maybe you could do the same thing with John Cena and Randy Orton. Have them appear on television every other week instead of having them on television each and every week. I do feel that that's a good idea with some of the veterans in WWE like Cena and Orton. I would say that that's a good idea. Alright, this one comes from Nick. Whatever happened to the bikini contest for the Divas? Two things. First off, when WWE went PG, they wanted to tone down the product and not objectify women like they were in the past. And also, them wanting to take the Divas division more seriously and put more of an emphasis on the athleticism rather than them just standing around in bikinis. I like the way they're doing it now. I like the fact that they're focusing on the wrestling and letting the women go out there and gain some credibility with the fans instead of just being eye candy. If you want to look at half-naked women or fully naked women, there's something called the internet. So I'm a fan of what they're doing now, and I think they're moving in the right direction. Alright, that'll wrap it up for this edition of NoDQ&A video. I'll be back with another edition of NoDQ&A video heading into WrestleMania, as well as my pay-per-view predictions video with Jeff Meacham. We'll also have, in addition to WrestleMania, we'll have a separate video for NXT predictions. So be on the lookout for that. Stay tuned to NoDQ.com. Subscribe if you haven't already. YouTube.com/NoDQCAW. Tell a friend about NoDQ&A video, and I will see you guys next time.